Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Pray you're good. Woken well, dreamt well. How were the dreams last night? Managed to get in. We could talk about lucid dreaming. We should do a session on lucid dreaming sometime. But this is the third session. Oh, I love lucid dreaming, by the way. Fantastic skill. This is the third session on the secrets of breath holding. So welcome to this. And I pray your practice went well yesterday and that you got lots of benefit from that. Now, I've asked you to come in again with this seed of intention that you're working with, and to get this seed of intention really clearly and to have that ready to use again today. So we're going to cultivate those skills. And later on, we'll talk a little bit about some of the psychology of the other than conscious. I call it other than conscious, OTC, rather than unconscious or subconscious. Subconscious is good, I guess. But anyway, enough on the nomenclature terminology. Those are minor points. Let's get on with the breath work. All right. So first of all, recap in your mind. Say 3 times in your mind your seed of intention. Repeat it to yourself 3 times. It's a bit like an affirmation at the moment, but we're going to take it deeper than that into the body mind. Great. Let's repeat it 3 times to yourself. And really feel into it with your heart. Check in with your heart. Check in with your alignment. We did this piece yesterday of working with the inner and outer alignment. So the alignment between the head and the heart and the belly. And getting that sense of congruence or alignment internally, and then feeling into the earth. Remember, one of the elements of the seed of intention we're talking about here is that it is in congruence with eco-sanity. Yeah? It's environmentally sound, it's sensible in that way. So, just wanting a great big gas guzzling sports car may be fantastic for the sense of self, but it may not be productive for the environment. So are what you're calling into place in manifestation in alignment in terms of the earth and in terms of the bigger picture, in terms of the evolution of consciousness on this planet, the embodiment of evolution and how we work with that. Okay, as you're doing that, a couple of notes on what I call conscious evolution. Now, we know that the environment affects the evolution of living things. It's an interdependent dance of relationship between environmental conditions and the evolution of organisms. Right? Organisms evolve together, they're not separate. So flowers and bees have to evolve together. The shape and the color of the bee is dependent on the pollinating insect, and the pollinating insect evolves to fit into the flower and to be attracted to the colors. It's this mutual dance of relationship. That's what evolution actually is. And we are not exempt from that. We're part of it. And we have the level of consciousness almost where we can begin to consider what effects we have on the environment and how we are therefore affecting the evolution of species, including our own. So we either switch on and become conscious of that, or we dumb down and remain unconscious of that and continue negating the environmental effects of our behavior. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying it has to be an eco-alignment, because that's part of switching on, waking up, whatever you want to call that, practice of growing in evolution and in consciousness. Beautiful. So we'll work with that. So make sure the practice, whatever you're calling in, does have that eco-sane, earth-based alignment as well. And in terms of the ongoing conscious evolution of humanity and therefore species everywhere, all beings. So blessings be. Enjoy that. Now, come into a comfortable seated position. Be in the position you need to be in right now for seated. Yeah, cross-legged if you can. Like Agelos was saying yesterday, that's really helpful. It's a helpful kind of base. It puts you on your sit bones in a good way. But if you need to be on a stool or a chair or seated up on blocks or something, please do that. You want to have the knees below the bony bits of your pelvis. You put your hands on the top of the pelvis, the pelvic wings. Let your knees be below that. So the psoas muscle particularly, which runs off the inner thigh, up along the lumbar spine, the lower back, up into the back of the diaphragm, what's called the crura of the diaphragm. That muscle can relax a little bit and soften a bit. It holds the spine up, so it's active, but it's not going to be working to hold your knees and your spine together. And those muscles feed into the diaphragm at the back through the fascial web, so they'll pull on the back of the diaphragm otherwise, okay? So relax it, drop your knees. Fantastic. And take a deep in breath. Deep, slow, beautiful breath. Spread the nostrils wide as you're breathing. Remember, we talked a lot about getting these nostrils open with the breath. Tongue behind the top teeth, highly recommended. Jaws super relaxed. When the jaw's relaxed, the cranial nerves that feed the face are going to soften. If you close your eyes a little bit, half closed or fully closed again, that's going to take those nerves that feed into the eyes and relax that and relax the visual sense. So there's less information coming into the visual cortex at the back of the brain. Yeah. So we're managing the amount of information the brain has to deal with externally, so that we can go a little bit more internally in awareness and feel inside. So as you breathe and spread the nostrils wide, take a whole full in-breath. Feel the turn into the out-breath, feel the transition into the out-breath, and a long, slow out-breath. Again, avoiding any air hunger, looking for the nectar, staying with the bliss of the breath. Following that breath down, finish the out-breath, and at the end of the out-breath, hold the out-breath out for a moment and squeeze the front and middle of the pelvic floor up. You may feel the back of the pelvic floor, you may feel a wave along the pelvic floor. Again, we cover a lot more of this in the members community, but get that feeling of drawing up there and hold that. And then squeeze the front and middle of the pelvic floor and breathe in as if you're breathing from there. And with that slightly additional pressure in the abdomen, the lower ribs are going to open. And then track through the upper ribs and see if you can get the whole circumference of the chest opening slowly with that in-breath. Now that's a skill, and it takes time to really develop that, maybe a year or two if you do it really well. So take your time now. It's a short session, breathing well, whole full in-breath. Feel as if you're breathing into the crown of the head. Hold that breath for a moment. Relax the face, the jaw, everything. Check in the whole body, make sure everything's relaxed, and then continue into the out breath. So a micro hold on the in-breath, just a check-in point. Long, slow out breath, long, slow out breath, long, slow out breath. Finish that out breath with a squeeze of the muscles at the base of the belly. Just draw them gently in, squeeze them. Pelvic floor inwards and upwards. Pulse it a little bit, check it's on. Then breathe in as if you're breathing from the base of the pelvic floor here. And feel the expansion around the front, side, back of the body as you're breathing in. So you're tuning into all the muscles of respiration here. Yeah, the deep muscles of respiration, the diaphragm, the external intercostals, the scalenes, and all the muscles that are holding you in position and balancing and working with those muscles, the pelvic floor, the abdomen, and so forth. So keep going with this breath. You're going through this anatomical meditation of the breath, really feeling, going into deep feeling and finding awareness in the dimension of feeling in the body. The back of the neck long and steady. It's like serpentine, a little snaky feeling in the spine. Yeah, just feel how much soft and released and elevated you can keep the spine. Hold full in breath, gentle hold. And in that hold, you're feeling the whole body. Check in, it all feels super relaxed, super good. And then breathe out, long, slow out breath. Now, with practice, you can get this breath so that you breathe at 1 breath a minute, or even slightly less. It's easy to get down to 2 breaths a minute. So I want you to do this for a few minutes now. Just a couple of minutes more. A few minutes more might be 3 breaths if you're breathing a minute a breath. And you're feeling the 4 parts of the breath: the inhale, the micro hold, the exhale, the gentle hold out as you tuck those muscles in, and then the full inhale again. And you're checking in all the way to find the effortlessness, to find the bliss in this practice. Really good. Really good. Just 1 more breath like this. Staying present to the breath. Staying fully present to each nuance, each moment of the breath. Now come into the triangle breath where we're going to hold on the inhale. It's long, slow, full inhale. Again, finding the bliss in the breath, listening to your body. Find that inhale. And then hold the breath in the body. As you hold the breath in the body, you can pull the pelvic floor up a little tiny bit. Drop the chin very slightly. You can draw up the pelvic floor on the inhale. On the exhale, you release the pelvic floor, but we'll come back to that in a minute when we do the exhale. Hold the breath now. And again, you can gently pulse up that inhale here, the pelvic floor here, and drop the chin very slightly to get a sense of length in the back of the head, in the back of the skull. Hold the breath in the body for as long as feels good. You'll learn by pushing it too far sometimes, because you'll feel the air hunger on the next part of the breath. So that tells you you've overdone the bit before when you feel the air hunger on the next part of the breath. So great. Now, whenever you're ready, take the out breath, long and slow and steady, and feel all the muscles that you've been using, relaxing, releasing, everything softening. And then at the end of that breath, squeeze the breath out a little bit. Hold the breath out, squeeze the pelvic floor up, just a micro hold, and then in breath, all the way up, slow and full and steady again. Front, side, back of the body, front, side, back, front, side, back. Now, if you've got a symbol for your seed of intention, don't worry about repeating the intention now. Just use the symbol. Start to just utilize the symbol and any hand position you created. That's all you have to do now. It's just like visualize the symbol maybe in your heart, in your belly, and in your head. And release it on the out breath. Release the pelvic floor on the out breath as well. So softening everything on the out breath, and then repulsing the pelvic floor at the end of the out breath. One more breath like this. Really good. And as you come to conclusion on that breath, we're then going to turn the triangle round. Okay, so we're going to be holding on the out breath this time. So you can do a long, slow, steady inhale. If you're working at a slightly different pace to me, take your time. There's no urgency. You can do a long, slow, steady inhale. Really good. Micro hold at the end of the inhale. A long, steady exhale. And then hold the breath out of the body. Squeeze the belly muscles in at the base of the belly. And you'll feel the pelvic floor lift a little bit as well. Hold that breath out of the body, the back of the neck a little bit long again. So get a sense of space in the back of the neck, like you're opening up the back of the vertebrae here. Hold that breath out. Hold the breath out for as long as feels good. There are 4 feelings we're working with. There's bliss, pleasure, delight. That's one of them. There's really good feelings. Good feels good. Yeah. There's a therapeutic benefit where it feels a bit like, kind of need that, but it's not quite so comfortable. Yes, you're in the realm of discomfort, but it feels like a growth edge. And then there's yuck, pain, pain, yuck, definitely not nice. So stay in the top 3 of those feelings, always. Don't go into the yuck, pain, definitely not nice feeling, number 4. So make sure you're practicing. Ideally, we're aiming towards the bliss end of things in the practice. A few more breaths like this, holding the breath out now with the body and extending that out breath, extending the out breath hold. See if you can see how long you can extend that out breath hold. Right. Just one more round like this. You know, in your own practice, you can do 9, 27 rounds like this. I'm going to be getting my members community to do much longer practices. Body Evolution members. So this is an introduction. Just get comfortable, start to begin to feel into the practices. Some of you have been practicing longer, I know. So again, take the opportunity to take this away. I recommend practicing 3 times a day. Even if it's short practices. I call it the 3-3-6-5. 3 times a day, 365 days of the year. Even if it's just 5 minutes of time. And relax the breath now. Take a few breaths. Keep you observing. Stay in observation of the breath. So we're going to stay in observation witness mode. And just let the breath, give the control of the breath back to the brainstem and let the body do whatever it needs to do. We'll spend just a minute just observing what's happening internally with the breath. Gentle smile on the face. Again, so the face muscles are relaxed. The upper trapezius muscles around the shoulder blades relaxed, still sitting tall. Posture is so important when we start to go into the nervous system in depth breath work and in meditation, meditative depth. Posture becomes very, very important. Changes in posture change the way your brain works. It's all connected. Right. So now we're going to start breathing in on the inhale, a nice long steady breath on the inhale. And get that breath as long and as comfortable as you can on the inhale. Again, you can utilize the front and middle of the pelvic floor to get that full kind of yogic type breath where you're getting the belly expanding, the lower ribs expanding, the upper chest expanding. I've done that already, that's fine with that yet. And then we're going to hold the breath in and tune into your heartbeat now as you're doing that. If you've got a mantra or if you've got a sound that you're working with in terms of your seed of intention, manifestation practice, repeat that gently at the rhythm of the heart as you hold the breath in. Feeling into the heartbeat. Best you can. Again, if you can't do that yet, you will be able to in time. It takes time to undo the filters. Sometimes a lot of the body sensation stuff is filtered out because we have a habit of paying attention mostly to thinking. So as we drop out of thinking, we can feel more and more of what goes on in the body. It's really important when we do this to understand that pretty much 99.9%, 99.99999% of the body, whenever we feel a sensation in the body, it's mostly good. Talk about that another time. Right. So we're going to hold the breath in and then breathe out and see if you can breathe out similar kind of length to the inhale. It's more or less equal. And when you've done that, you're going to hold the breath out for the same kind of amount of time as you breathe, as you held the breath. So this is a box breathing where we're breathing in for an amount of time, holding the breath for a similar kind of time, lengthening out breath, similar kind of time, roughly. It can be a bit longer, it doesn't matter. And then holding the breath out for a similar kind of time. So doing this breath, long, slow, steady inhales and exhales. It doesn't have to be exactly square. We're not going to count it, we're going to feel it. One can do counted breath on this. And in certain stressful situations, it's very helpful to do that. But right now, we're not using it here to resolve a stressful context. We're using it for engaging with the breath hold. So it's purposed slightly differently. and using both breath holds for cultivating and dropping in the symbol and hand position, body position, and any sound that you're working with. So you're working on a very sensory base, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, for this manifestory principle, and staying out of digital dialogue. We're not going to repeat the words at the moment. So it's a very symbolic level that we're working on. Let's do 4 or 5 rounds like this. Stay steady with it. Notice any air hunger. You're doing really well. And when you're working with the breath hold, remember you can pull the pelvic floor up gently, lengthen that back of the neck slightly, and that gives a sense of containment to the kind of the energetic quality of the practice. Yeah, energetic quality is also emotional. We don't want the practice to be so expanded that we feel uncentered and ungrounded. So that keeps us centered and grounded and present. Centered, grounded, and present. I'm doing it with you. It doesn't look like I am, but I'm doing it with you. Just holding my breath right now. I've learned to hold my breath and talk. And one more breath like this. Really good. And when you finish that round, what I want you to do now is, again, just relax the breath completely. Stay in witness mode, observing the breath, so mindfulness of breathing, yeah? But let the breath do whatever the body wants it to do. Yeah? So give back control of the breath to the brainstem. And this is a really useful part of practice, is to shift between observation of breath and manipulation of breath. So we have moments where we're just observing the breath, just letting it do and staying in observation. Yeah? And then going into manipulation of breath and feeling that movement in the brain between those places where we're taking executive control of the breath and where we're relaxing, giving control of the breath back to the brainstem. That is a very key element of practice, of the yin approach to practice, because it gives us a powerful way of integrating breath work into daily life again, because we can call upon that link that we're creating in the brain then, as we need to. Wonderful. Now, for the next practice, for the next part of this practice, I should say, we're going to do 4 longer breath holds. Yeah. Now I'm going to define each one as we go along. But the first one we're going to start holding the breath out of the body, right? So what I want you to do is do a few pumping breaths, by which I mean, you're going to take a full deep inhale into the chest. We'll change it slightly, so you're going to get this breath up here. Back the neck long. Release and push the breath out a little bit, so feel the pelvic floor squeezing in again. That's 2, and a full deep inhale. See how much you can open up the chest and breathe out. do 9 breaths like this. And for some of you, opening the chest like this will feel new. So take your time, do less breaths if you need to. Another few breaths. I'm making a sound on the breath so you can hear me breathing with you. And last breath here. Full inhale, then push the breath out of the body. Hold the breath out. Squeeze the front and middle of the pelvic floor. Draw the tummy inwards. See if you can open those ribs and suck the diaphragm up into that fully stretched position. Lengthen the back of the neck. Drop the chin slightly deeper in towards the sternal notch here. And you're going to hold the breath out for as long as possible now. As long as possible. Go for it. Just remember that when you come up, you've got to do those 3 things. That's release the muscles first, so release any muscles that are contracting still. Smile, flood the system with relaxation, serotonin. Yeah. And consciously inhale. That's what you're going to do at the end of this practice. Spread the nostrils and consciously inhale. Now, as you're in the breath, hold, feel into the heartbeat. Visualize your symbol. Use your hand position. Make the sound. Symbolic level of the seed of intention that you created. Let it pulse through the system. So your mind is centered in the heart space. Brain and heart in union. Brain, heart, belly in alignment, in union, coherently connected, congruent. Feel just how powerful this practice is. Stay with the breath hold if you can. That's 1 minute already. Stay with the breath hold if you can. Whenever you need to release, release well. Like I said, it's practice. It takes time. It's absolutely fine. Whatever you're doing is perfect for now. Understand that. Accept that. So if you've got any critical mind stuff going on of I'm not good enough or any of that kind of jazz that we human beings are so indoctrinated into, oh, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'm rubbish, all that kind of stuff going on in the head. Notice that. Notice if any of that comes up in a feeling sense. Yeah. And then uninstall it. Yeah. Uninstall it. Smile, release, come back to the breath and uninstall that unhelpful installation from your culture of self-derogation, diminishment, everything else like that that goes on. My friend called it the shitty committee that goes on in the head, the inner critical voices and feelings constantly keep us small. We eliminate those in the practice when we notice them and we come back to the breath. That's 2 minutes, fantastic. It's just over 2 minutes, in fact. Great. So take a few breaths now. If you're still holding the breath, carry on, carry on. All right, everybody else, what I want you to do now is to just come into a few down-regulated breaths, long, slow, steady breath, observing the breath, just lengthen the breath out a little bit, bring the system down, release. Relax the belly fully on the breath. It's a really important phase. This phase of relaxing everything after the breath hold is important as well. It's a phase of integration. And in these practices, the integration aspect is crucial. It's really, really important, because that's how we begin to weave the insights, the realization, the recognitions, the depth work, the intention seeds into life. Great. So we're going to do 3 more of these breath holds now, just 3 more like this, right? Now, this time again, we just do, actually we'll make it 2, probably make it 2, given the time scale, we might make it 2, okay? So take another few breaths like this, another 9 full breaths. And again, if your body tells us less, then 5 is good, 4 is good. Don't worry about doing 9 if your body is not happy with doing 9. Do less. 4 is absolutely fantastic, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm just giving 9 because some people would like to do 9. So full deep breath. Fill the system with air. Release, squeeze it out. Inhale. Release, squeeze it out. That's 2. And again. 3. 4. Keep going. 7. And 8. And 9. Full inhale and push the breath out. Now release and push. Hold the breath out. Draw that tummy in, pelvic floor up. Open that diaphragm. Feel the ribs open to stretch open that diaphragm and the bandha. Land from the back of the neck. Drop the chin slightly down. Close the eyes. Feel into the heartbeat. Cultivate your symbol. Grow the symbol and the Hasta Mudra, the hand position. And any sound that you're working with as symbolic sensory level, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic representations of this seed of intention, this fantastic creative project that you're bringing into the world. Hold it now. Hold that breath for as long as you can again. It's 30 seconds already. Just relax into the breath hold. Relax into it. There's plenty of oxygen in your body. You've just filled up with oxygen. There's still 1.5 liters or 2 in the lungs anyway. Your blood was saturated with oxygen. In every red blood cell, there's a you can carry 1 billion molecules of oxygen. And there are 300 trillion red blood cells, something like that. It's huge. The amount of oxygen being carried by the blood right now, even as you're holding the breath out, is just immense. And as you're doing this, remember all that oxygen that's being pumped around your body right now by the heart has been made by plants. Plants take the incident sunlight on the planet and they use that with the chlorophyll to split water and then join the bits of the water together with carbon dioxide to make sugars and starches, and that's how they grow. And then we take that in as food and do the reverse process of breaking it up and releasing energy. And we need oxygen to come in to enable that process. And whatever you need to release, remember to release the muscles first. Control the release. Release the muscles first. Soft and easy. Smile. Flood the system with happy, happy neurotransmitters. And take a full, conscious, beautiful inhale, spreading the nostrils super wide as you breathe in. And take a few breaths, just a few slow, deep breaths. Now, what I want you to consider here is what 3 things are you going to do today? Don't wait for it. What 3 things are you going to do today? That's 3 things you're going to do today to start making that seed of intention fully manifest. What actions are you going to take today and then tomorrow and the day after to start making that thing happen? No excuses, no justifications, yeah, no blaming other people as to why it doesn't happen. You're taking full responsibility and you're saying, these are the 3 things I'm going to do today. So start feeling into your body and working out what those are. Great. Now, we're going to stop there with that breath hold because we're getting close to time. So we're going to do another breath hold now before we go, okay? So we're going to do the same breathing in, same breathing. Yeah, 4 to 9 breaths, full deep breath. Jaw relaxed as you're breathing. Don't tighten the jaw as you're breathing. Full deep inhale. And breathing slowly out. Finish the out breath. Squeeze the breath out. Keep doing this another few breaths. Breathing fully. Full deep breath. And hold the breath in the body. This time we're going to take a full deep in breath. Hold the breath in the body. Draw the pelvic floor up slightly. Lengthen the back of the neck. Lengthen this space at the back of the neck. Hold the breath in. Squeeze your tummy very gently and just get that containment feeling here. And again, repeat your symbol, your sound, your hand position. And let your body tell you what 3 things you're going to get up and do to make the difference today, to do what you've got to do. We're subverting, we're going underneath the other than conscious mind. We're going through the sensory systems, in through the body. Yeah. So the installations of limiting self-belief, low self-worth, yeah, shame-based destruction of creativity, all the rest of the stuff that we human beings get conditioned into, we can begin to go underneath that stuff and get in at a level which actually begins to bubble that stuff up, push it up, we see it, we can uninstall it, and we can manifest from that place of creative power that each and every one of us are. You're a beautiful, powerful human being, born in goodness. And body evolution doesn't give weight to that old desert religion belief that we're born in original sin and all the shame and the guilt and everything else that comes out. We're undermining and dissolving those kinds of conditioning and finding the freedom. Beautiful. And whenever you need to release, you release, yeah, by relaxing the muscles first, softening everything, smiling, yeah. Conscious exhale now. Another few pumps of breath, we'll come back into it again. Take a few breaths between, I beg your pardon, a few breaths to calm the system down first. And at some point, I'd love to get into some water work with you. We can do some water-based breath work. It's a profound and beautiful thing to do. Breath holding in water and moving and breathing in water. There's work we can do there, which is fantastic. So at some point I'll find a pool and we'll do some of this. Great, a few more breaths. We've got some amazing, excuse me. We've got some amazing online breath courses coming up as well. Level 1 and a level 2 course. And other great plans. So stay in tune with us and find out what we're doing. Right, we're going to do another breath hold. Are you ready? Another 4 to 9 pumps like this. There's full deep breaths. Supersize it and breathe out. Empty. Finish. Inhale. And breathe out. That's 2. And another. And breathe out. And keep breathing like this. And breathe out. And again, full deep inhale. Keep it strong, keep it powerful, keep it big. Go large with it. And breathe out. If your body needs to shake at all and move with it, allow it. It's fine. And there's an ongoing learning process of listening and trusting your own body in this as well. That's about 6. Another 3 breaths if you can. Breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. A full deep inhale. And breathe out. 2 more. Back the neck long. Big smile on your face if you can. Full deep inhale, fill up now. Hold the breath in the body. Squeeze the pelvic floor gently, pulse her in and up. Belly gently in, softly squeeze. Back the neck long, drop the chin slightly. Rest your hands, use your hand position. Your visual symbol, your auditory symbol, the visual, auditory, kinesthetic symbols you're using. Fantastic, and hold that breath out, I beg pardon, in for as long as you possibly can now. Really go for it. Last breath hold of this session, so max it. Go for your max. The Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine 2019 was looking at how cells make sense and adapt to oxygen availability, and how the oxygen levels in the cell affect cellular metabolism, and how they give shifts in gene expression, altering cellular metabolism, tissue remodeling, how cells reconstruct and rebuild themselves, and whole organism responses such as heart rate and breath rate. Yeah, we talked about yesterday about how this breath holding affects the phrenic nerve and the respiratory nerves, giving plasticity to those and increasing depth of breath. The 2019 prize also looked at oxygen-dependent responses, a thing called hypoxia-inducible factor. There's a couple of those. There's a non-O2 regulated protein and O2 regulated factor, HIF1 alpha. Don't want to go into those too much. And also we talked yesterday about how it increases the amount of red blood cells in the system. So you're increasing the amount of oxygen capacity to be pumped around the system. Right now, your body is listening to all of this. The cells are listening to this right now as you're holding your breath. This is going on. And loads of other stuff. You know, the evolutionary adaptation from swampfish that we talked about. The sensory neurons in your neck right now are measuring oxygen levels, and they're releasing serotonin down into your body, into your brain, right? And they're increasing the plasticity of your nerves. Yeah? They're making your diaphragm stronger. Fantastic. This is from breath holding. From getting lots of oxygen in the system, hyperoxia, there are super medical benefits from that. So the breath you were doing beforehand of pumping the oxygen into the system increases arterial O2 pressure, increases hemoglobin saturation, increases plasma O2 in the blood. Okay, for given cardiac output, the oxygen is increased immensely. Endurance is enhanced, increases in performance, enhanced training, less respiratory. It's like tons of benefits. List just goes on and on and on. Helps you maintain cerebral oxygenation during exercise. There are so many factors we've come up with so far. Right? There's even suggestions that high levels of oxygen and low levels of oxygen imbalance can reduce cancer tumors. More evidence needed, much more evidence needed on this stuff. Hold your breath out. Stay with the breath hold if you can. Stay with that breath hold now. Push it, push it, push it. Relax into the system. The diaphragm's going to kick off. Just relax into it a bit more if you can. And when you come out of it, come out with that big, big, big smile. Great. Release whenever you're ready. And if you've released, then come to some steady, gentle breath. Just full, deep, slow breath for a few breaths. Full, deep, slow breath. Like the breath we did at the beginning. Cultivate a length in the inhale, no hold, straight into the exhale. Really good. Really good. Feel the breath. Feel the breath. Feel how it feels to breathe like this, to full inhale. Through the nostrils, lifting the air through the upper passageways. Long, slow out breath. Now I'm going to finish this practice with a humming breath. So take an in-breath now, full deep in-breath, and hum on the out-breath as loud as you can. Full deep in-breath. Full deep in-breath last time. Supersized breath. And extend that vibration in the brain. See if you can extend that vibration from the brain down to the whole body. Max breath. And long, steady out breath. See how long you've made that humming last. Hold the breath out momentarily. Soft, beautiful in-breath. And relax control of the breath. Give the breath, control of the breath back to the brainstem. Just notice the breath. Notice the breath. Beautiful. Open your eyes if you haven't already. Welcome back. I ask you again, what 3 things are you going to do today that are going to start enacting that seed of intention? And do them. Make sure you do them today. And then do 3 things tomorrow and 3 things the next day. And start making that vision real for the good of all beings everywhere. it's in alignment with the earth, it's in alignment with the flow of the evolution of consciousness, then let's get this happening. Bring it on in the world. Fantastic and beautiful. Really good. So if there are any questions now, put your questions in the chat box and I will answer those questions. I have one question came in from Nicola, who asked a question about use of the pelvic floor. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Now, when you breathe, just belly breathing, like we did when we began this thing, the pelvic floor goes down, if you remember. So the pelvic floor and the diaphragm are in a dance together. So the pelvic floor comes down on the inhale, and the diaphragm comes down on the inhale like this, and the pelvic floor comes down with it. So we've got this dance of the diaphragm and pelvic floor like this. Yeah. And mostly that's other than conscious. It's not in conscious mind for most people most of the time. Okay, but that's what's happening. Yeah, like that. So if we want to change the energetic direction and the quality of the breath, we can use the pelvic floor. So what we were doing on the inhale there is when the diaphragm comes down, we were lifting the front and middle of the pelvic floor, which changes the pressure in the abdomen. Yeah? And that then opens the ribs up. It actually changes the way the diaphragm works. And again, on one of the functional anatomy courses we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at this a lot more deeply, all right? However, for now, yeah, it just changes that pressure a bit and it lifts the breath up. But on the out breath, relax the pelvic floor. Now, if you're constantly pulling the pelvic floor up, what you can end up with is hypertension in the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor can't relax fully. So we need, like any muscle, to be able to feel the activation, the engagement of that muscle group, and the relaxation or the exhale. So both those qualities. Yeah. And again, there's a whole lot more stuff we do on the pelvic floor in the members community. So come and join us on that if you can. If you can come and commit to that and join to that, it's fantastic. Josie, you're asking a question here. On a long breath hold, my teeth start to chatter and make it very hard to continue to hold. Do you know why this be and how to overcome it? Yes, you've got your own answer. It's practice. However, I suggest that you pay attention to when the teeth start to chatter, yeah, and just reduce the length of the hold, yeah, for a while until that goes away. Okay, so don't hold quite so long. Build up a little more slowly over time, because ideally these practices are going to be daily practices. There's something you can do every day, and some of you may not practice yesterday or the day before or the day before. Do you understand? So I'm taking you into fairly strong practice quite quickly. Yeah, so you may not practice yesterday, in which case you haven't got that build up of the stamina of the breath work and the breath holding. So again, if you want more discipline, if you want more understanding of what you're doing, we've got some great breath courses. If you're interested in the breath courses, put your details, send us your details, and we'll send you some advanced information advice, by the way. Ed, you're saying I end up with headache. Is it muscular tension excess or the different biochemistry in the brain? Well, it could be either, to be honest with you, but it's most probably muscular tension. So again, what we can work with again is make sure, particularly these upper muscles here, these ones up here, the upper trapezius, if we're doing breath work, sometimes they're unconsciously lifting. So check in those muscles here, because these ones, when they squeeze up, they can generate a frontal headache. All right. So, and again, sitting position really matters in this. So if we've got the knees up too high and the psoas is switched on, that tends to push us into the lumbar spine. It tightens along the back line. That then will activate the traps here, the upper traps, and that can give us a headache. Yeah. It's also about daily discipline. So I'd say again, Ed, again, if you've got any problems with stuff, book a one-to-one with me as well. The first 20 minutes one-to-ones we've got are free anyway, so you can book up for a complimentary one-to-one and we can go through some of this stuff. Okay, so that's a good way of approaching it. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Joe, what have you got there, Joe? I can't hold out the breath more than a second without feeling comfortable in tension. You said to stay in the nectar of the breath. Should I breathe in straight away? Joe, yes, you should breathe in straight away for now. When I engage pelvic floor and suck in tummy, it makes it much harder to hold. All right, Joe, what I want you to do, again, you can book up a session with me. We've done one already, had one chat already. Let's have another chat and start having a look at this, because it'd be really good to extend this out breath hold for you a little bit more. I think that's work for one-to-one engagement on that. But I would say, yes, go gently for now. Listen to the nectar of the breath. Stay with that yin approach for now. Keep that fairly gentle for now, okay? And book in another session for me. Let's look at how to work with that together. But we can, and I think it would be good to start working on that, all right? Is that okay? I hope that's helpful. So yes, I would say you're asking, when I engage pelvic floor and sucking stomach, it makes it harder to hold. Sorry, avoid doing those things for now, yes. Okay. Vicky, you say, I find the breath hold out, especially makes me feel a bit stressed and find it very hard. Is that normal? Humming breath and box are more peaceful for me. Yes, humming breath and box will be more peaceful for you. They are very much, they very much create peace in the system. The breath hold isn't about creating peace in the system necessarily. And the out breath hold is often difficult for people. It's often difficult because we're using muscles that are often used to work with stress. Okay, so again, it's going in gently. It's finding that gentle approach over time. So I would say, hold, the breath hold out. Hold it just for, you say you last about 20 seconds, then hold it for 18. Hold it for 18 and get really comfortable with 18. And then in a week's time, when you've done it every day for a week or 6 days out of the 7 at least, then you'll be up to 19 and then 20 and then 21. So it's the incremental development over time that we're working with. And that is where daily practice comes in. It gives us the capacity to build up, right? Now, everybody cleans their teeth every day. I suspect, isn't that right? Yeah. Everybody's cleaning their teeth every day. Is there a day you don't go by with cleaning your teeth? Probably not. Okay. There are other ablutions that you do every single day, and you don't question doing them. But we allow stress to build up in our system. We don't let tooth decay build up, but we let stress build up. We let stress build up in muscular tension. We let stress build up around the diaphragm, and we let stress build up in how our blood chemistry responds to that stress. And we don't know, we don't do anything about it because nobody's told us, right? So what we start doing now is you start doing a daily breath practice, and I'm happy to guide you. You just have to join in the community and that kind of thing. We start doing a daily breath practice to make sure that stress buildup and emotional debris doesn't clog our system. And that's what we're working with. So when your breath hold is 20 seconds or less, yeah, you've got some emotional debris, you've got some stress residues in the system, and we start to work with that and clear that out gently over time. It's incremental, yin, gentle approach to releasing that, clearing it out of the way, and getting your life back on track in a powerful, powerful, powerful way. And that's what we're doing here, okay? Okay, hope all this makes sense. Scott, you've got a question here. Prior to the inhale retention, are we trying to reduce CO2? Not necessarily, no. But inhale, because of the breath we're doing, there will be some CO2 reduction, but that's not the intention. The intention is just to oxygenate. Does oxygen saturation in the blood increase? Marginally. But what we are doing is we're pushing blood. There's not going to be much. You might get a 1 to 2% increase in oxygen saturation. But what we are doing is we're pushing blood around the system to get more, to utilize blood pushing it into the tissues. So oxygen pushing into the tissues. So we're going to increase the amount of oxygen in the tissues for a short period of time as the carbon dioxide releases slightly, yeah, from the blood. And then we're going to, we're only doing it for 9 breaths. If we did it for 100 breaths, it would be very, very different. And I do teach practices where we go up to 100 or 108 breaths like this, and then the blood chemistry thing is radically different. But we're not trying to reduce CO2, but it will happen a bit because of the nature of what we're doing. So I hope that's a helpful introduction to blood chemistry. Just a start. It's just a start because these are big topics. And again, these 3 sessions are a start. Again, it's a big topic. So I hope it's been helpful. I'm really grateful that you've all come to work with me, those of you doing the recordings. Thank you, enjoy them. And you've got access to those recordings to go over this work if you want to. So take your time, enjoy them, enjoy the work, and thank you ever so much for coming to join us. Like I said, we've got an online members community, which you can go to my website, christophergladwell.com, and sign up for. And we've got some amazing, and they are amazing, systematic, systemic, deeply intelligent online breath courses coming up, which we're going to be promoting very soon. So if you want to see those, take part in those, or be part of that work, then let me know. I'm very excited by these courses. So I'm very passionate and excited. They're amazing. So I'm looking forward to sharing those in the world. So again, let us know about that too. And thank you ever so much again for joining. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.